We mentioned Treylon Burks going to the Tennessee Titans. He replaces A.J. Brown, who now went to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles getting rave reviews for their draft. Howie Roseman, the general manager out there, they did a really good job getting Jordan Davis, trading for A.J. Brown. And Jalen Hurts seems rather happy. I think him and A.J. Brown are like best friends, is what I learned over the last week. I mean, they FaceTimed on draft night. They seem like they're really have a really good relationship here. And Jalen Hurts is the big question mark, I think, on this Philadelphia Eagles team. Do you agree there that Hurts is kind of what we want to see going forward if this Eagles team can contend?
Look, I think the one thing about the Eagle team is this. You know, one of the things that drives me crazy about Doc Rivers is his inability to prepare the team for the playoffs, right? So he never has any futuristic, look, I need to get this guy ready because I'm going to need 12 minutes of this guy in the, he played Paul Reed 25 minutes last night. Paul Reed didn't get 25 minutes at any point during the regular season, but now in the most important game of the year, he's playing him 25. Like, there's no vision. And a job of a coach is to figure out what the vision is. So if you're a team that's playing Philadelphia next year, like, you can't get ready for Philadelphia, the Eagles. You can't get ready for their offense in 3 days. You just can't. I mean, you can't get ready for them. So what you have to do is you have to spend time in the off season making sure that you have an understanding of what they're trying to do. So if you're Detroit, or if you're the team like Tennessee or Arizona that you got to play this team, Pittsburgh, because of their uniqueness in what they do, the Oklahoma offense, you should spend a week during OTA days, a week of that time is not that you're game planning, but you're understanding how to defend them and what you're doing. You're preparing your team. And then during the season, until you play that team, whatever extra time you have, you've got to prepare yourself for that. That's really important because you're building something to play. You just can't show up. It's like playing Army in football, right? You just can't play Army on the week. They're going to run the option, and they're going to kill you because they're so much better at doing it than you are. So you've got to prepare yourself for that. You have to have some kind of vision, like, what are we going to do? The minute that the 76ers traded Drummond, Doc should have sat there and said, okay, I got to have to develop Bassey and Reed because I'm going to need 12 minutes out of them, and I'm going to have to put them in and play them in games. I'm not playing Millsap. I know he can't play. I'm not playing Jordan, who they went inside. I got to find a way to develop these players, right? Of course he didn't. And so now last night he's out there, Shake Milton gets a minute. He brings Furkan in off the bench who hasn't played. I mean, it's what we call battleship football. You're just randomly guessing, and you're making $12 million a year to randomly guess. Like, seriously, like, what are we doing here? Like, don't we have an idea? Okay, if we play Miami, I think I'm going to need I'm going to need this. And then you tell the player, hey, look, this is your role in the game. That's called player development. This is what's so frustrating about it is, the Miami Heat have two players that are in their starting lineup that weren't even drafted or the second round picks. I mean, it's a comedy, but Riley builds that franchise around player development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Heat culture. That's what they always talk about there down on South Beach. Heat culture. While they're flashy and the glitz and glamour by the beach, they are definitely hard-nosed, the Miami Heat. But I want to get back to this Eagles thing here because you mentioned Jalen Hurts and how the Eagles have tried to get better surrounding him. They've surrounded him with a lot of talent. And Hurts, I'm a big fan of his as a person, just because this is a hard-nosed, hard-working guy who knows that he's not where he needs to be, but is working to try to improve. And this Eagles team worked around that last year. They started the year passing the football, then they switched mid-season. Okay, let's run the ball and give teams a different look. And then their run game and their offense really took off there. Now they've playoffs, it took them to so far there as they lost in the wild card round. But do you think that they can build upon this Oklahoma offense with Hurts, knowing that he needs to improve in certain areas of his game?
I don't see it happening. I mean, he couldn't do it at Alabama. He got benched at halftime for Tuiasosopo. Tua,
yeah.
Not Tuiasosopo. Tua.
I appreciate the shout out. I love the Huskies there, Tuiasosopo.
Oh yeah, he was with us in Oakland, Marcus. So and so look, they were 32nd, Femi, in the league last year. The Eagles were in passing attempts. I mean, they were 25th in yards, right? He protected the ball last year. He was 6th in the league in interceptions thrown. So he was protecting the ball. Where they excelled was they were the best run team in the league. They were the best rushing touchdown team in the league, right? So they were the fourth best, which is the most important stat in rushing, is they were the fourth best yards per attempt. That's how they won. When they were on that 3-game losing streak back early in the season when they lost to Dallas and San Francisco and Kansas City, they tried to throw the ball. They try to throw the ball. They can't. I mean, when they got done getting beat by Tampa or the Raiders, and they, from the Raider game on, they averaged 230. They went and ran for 236, 176, 216, 242, 208, 185, 238. They just started running the ball. And then what happened in the playoff game? They got 95 yards rushing. And that's why I think, to me, people say, well, Lombardi, you don't know anything about basketball. Rudy Gobert. Like, seriously, Rudy Gobert, they've neutralized him in the playoffs, right? I mean, everybody knows it. Like, his dominance isn't in the playoffs because they substitute, they go small, and he can't play. It's the same thing with Hurts. When they make him have to throw the ball come playoff time, can he do it? No, of course not.
Does it get easier having a guy like an A.J. Brown in that offense? Because they clearly traded him for Brown because they think he's a talented player, one of the elite receivers in football. But having a guy like Brown alongside Devontae Smith, alongside Dallas Goedert, does that make the passing windows a little easier, or is it just something that you just have to be able to do it regardless who's out there?
I just think, to me, his problem has always been his anticipation throw. Can he anticipate the throw? Can he throw the ball before the guy's open? And he's never been able to do that. He doesn't have a rhythm to his game. He doesn't have a smooth rhythm to his game. And where he excels is when he's in a play-action pass game, where he can fake a handoff, the defense gets separated, and now he can read high-low. Okay, I'm going to throw the ball to you, or I'm going to throw the ball to you. And then he goes from there. But I think the other concern, if you're Philadelphia, is how good are you going to be on defense? Last year when they played against San Francisco, when they played Dallas, Kansas City, Carolina, when they played the good teams, they couldn't stop anybody defensively. And when they started to play the bad teams offensively, when Herbert came in Philadelphia, I mean, Philly lost 27-24 in that game. I mean, and the Chargers threw for 445. They had 445 yards of offense. I mean, they were going up and down the field. The schedule really benefited the Eagles last year. When they landed back from that trip in Denver, they didn't go on the road again. And that was November 20th, right? So from the November the 15th, when they landed back from Denver, they never went on the road. They were in buses or trains until they had to go to Tampa. And then when they got to Tampa again, Brady throws for 243 against them, and he doesn't have very many incompletions. They have 399 yards. I mean, the game really wasn't as close as 31-15.
Thanks for watching the GM Shuffle with Michael Lombardi. And for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to VSiN Live and the GM Shuffle podcast with Michael Lombardi, presented by DraftKings and VSiN, wherever you get your podcasts.